Comments from the board. I do have a couple of comments for record. One is Marcia's excellent job that she did on the presentation. We want to thank her and also all the people that she brought to the audience with her. I think that was great. There was quite a crew of people there to support her and our endeavors. And the other would be thank whatever members of the board that served time for trying to select a new golf pro. The organization, we appreciate their time, dedication. I know it takes some time and you have to make some decisions, which we appreciate it. So other than that, does anybody else have any comments we might want to?
Real quick, mention we hosted the Corn Ferry qualifier this past Monday, and Randy is very involved in that, helping with getting volunteers. He volunteers himself to get the players going. So thanks for all that. It went really well. I've got several comments from a few of the players. Chris, the guy that runs it, his assistant. I've gotten comments and emails, and they were all very complimentary of not only the course, but the way everyone was treated and the way it went. So if you didn't see, we're about to have what was it, 5-for-1 or 7-for-1 playoff for the last spot. And in the very last group, somebody comes in with 900 and kicks all those guys out. So all the 500s, it wasn't enough. So I think we had a 9 under, 8 under, 7 and a 6, maybe, or 2 6s, maybe.
9 and 7 and 2 6s, and then 7 5s.
Yeah.
Was it for the qualifier?
I had park board that day, and I'm sitting back there on my phone, update. And I'm like, oh, we're about to have a playoff. As soon as I talk, I'm out of here. And then I'm like, kicked it out. I wanted to go watch that playoff, but all in all, no, it was a really big success. I think feedback was good. He's already got everything going for next year to come back. So appreciate it, Randy.
Right, approval of minutes. I've been had any minutes for a while here. What seems to be the problem there?
I think we've got 2 months. We approved 4 or 5 at once there. The last month we couldn't access the meeting.
Correct.
So that's been a problem. We'll be caught up next meeting. We'll have them. I think we'll have either 2 or 3 to approve. We'll have those ready.
All right. Next item is continuation of prior business operations update. I believe Jesse would be holding that.
Yeah, of course, last time we met, none of our systems worked. We couldn't access anything. We were cash only, just working from the Stone Ages. Now everything is pretty well back to normal. There's a couple of little things, but I'm sure you're all aware we're taking credit cards again, online bookings going again. Of course, the city, the finance and everything, they're still playing catch up from several weeks of not being able to do anything. So as far as the financials and like more the expense side, I have not gotten that report yet. I have no idea. I would expect in the next couple of weeks, I'll get an updated one. But I think for the most part, we're in the clear. We're past all that and we can go forward. So I just kind of wanted to update everyone that things are back to normal, and hopefully that never, ever happens again. And kind of on that point, we'll see in a minute when I do the financials. It really didn't hit as bad as what I thought it would when it happened. Definitely people were going to the ATM. They knew their green fee was, or they were going to have to pay 15 for a card or 45 for a green fee, whatever. So they were getting that exact money. And then when they got to the course, they didn't have extra cash for merchandise, for food and beverage. So we did lose some on that supplemental revenue. But the green fees and cart rentals really didn't take a hit. It was more just that other stuff. There was definitely some impact to that. But all in all, I think we came out better than it could have been a lot worse. Put it that way.
Is there a big impact with Texas situation? I know they lead us with the most rounds each year.
Yes, there is. It's comparing to last year, we're really almost on track of what we did last year. which is good because we've upped some other stuff. We got more revenue coming in. If Tex was open, we would be farther along. So we're not really losing ground comparing last year, year over year. But it's obvious if Tex was full force right now, we would just be that much more ahead. So.
Any other questions? And the next would be the fairway update, which obviously is one of our
This is the big one.
big ones. Yes.
I'll save Tex for last. Went out. I know you played sim today. I walked sim and just drove sim, looked at all the fairways. First time I've been out there in probably 10 days. I've been focused on the other ones. There's a huge difference between right now and what it was a month ago. Not good, but it's definitely going in the right direction. He put some seed down in a couple areas and it really didn't take it. Oh, there's nothing, you can't see anything coming out.
I saw nothing on 9 where he tested it.
Right. So we were hoping that would take a little better, but just on it. So his plan is to come back now and sprig the worst, bigger areas. The seed didn't take, so he's going to come back and do that here in the next week. He is hitting, obviously, fertilizer, irrigation problems are, I mean, it's pretty obvious where the issues are at that course. But I was as pleased, I guess, as I could be today, seeing that the spots that were massive are starting to shrink down. So it's coming in. We got heat and humidity coming up. So maybe some rain tomorrow. So I feel like there's hope the next 6 weeks probably for sim for that to really start to get full coverage. And Robert, I kind of get your opinion. You were out there today.
Yeah, it's coming around, like I said, there's a couple of bad spots that are just there. And the other ones that looks like they probably are gonna come in.
Yeah.
Still dormant, but there's a couple with just dirt.
Yeah.
So is that where the seed was put down or what's?
See, there's a big section on 9 that has ropes around it.
Oh, 9,
And,
okay, yeah.
that was kind of his test area, and it's been 3 weeks or something, and there's nothing there at all. So it didn't take. So he's going to come back and just mainly sprig the big areas. It won't be nothing like what we had to do at Tex. It'll just be smaller sections.
Is
But
that the same machine that we had last year, or is there a difference?
same as last year, not the one we used at Tex. That was not our machine, but it's the same one. He did some areas last year. Mac did some areas last year, so
Okay.
same machine as we use there. Going to Mac.
Before you run off to Mac,
Okay.
he's got an awful lot of knotweed that's come in there.
Yeah, he got a new, I don't know what the chemical's called, some new chemical. He sprayed it rough and he sprayed about 2 foot of the fairway just to see what it would do. And the area he sprayed, it was kind of a test. It knocked all that stuff out and didn't touch the Bermuda. Bermuda looked healthy as it could be. So he's going to come back. His new sprayer is finally going to be delivered on Thursday.
Okay, the other question, is there a residual before you can spray or do anything if he was to use that material? You sure check that before.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah.
Not that I want to delay it, but sometimes he's not gotta go 2 or 3 weeks prior or
I'm
after.
going to assume the areas that he plans to sprig, he's probably won't spray close to those areas. I mean, there's probably 4 or 5 fairways that he's going to sprig. So he may stay away from those areas. That's a question I'll ask him. The sprayer that he has broke down the other day. So he got the workman, tied it to the sprayer. It was pulling the sprayer while it was spraying. So he had 2 carts just pulling it around the other day just to get by. So pretty creative. Mac, today they had to borrow a seeder. They got it from seed, so I don't know, some company here in town. The one they had, the seed, that it looks like flaxseed. I mean, it's tiny little seeds, and it was pouring it out on the ground. The one that he had, so he had to borrow this one. He got all the seed down today. He pulled plugs, kind of opened it up last week, got all the seed down today. Hopefully we get this rain tonight. That machine, it basically puts holes, drops the seed, and then it's got some discs that kind of go. You don't want to push it way down, apparently, with the seed, you'll know, but it kind of puts it in the ground a little bit. So he got all that done today. He's tested a few spots there that seem to take with some seed a few weeks ago. So Kind of the same deal. It's kind of a, I mean, you know, it's looks like it's almost been tilled up in some of those areas. It looks bad, but it was all prepped to get the seed down today. So we need to keep water on it. He's got a plan for carts. So most of the fairways at Mac have a few good sections. So what we're going to do is keep the carts, basically try to, as much as we can get people to cooperate, stay in the rough. And he's already has the signs ready to say, basically cross here. If you need to cross the fairway, just don't drive through the bare spot. Just go up to that spot. There's a sign, you cross. If you need to go the other side. And we'll try to police that as much as we can, but
Can they just rope the areas off so carts can't go in there? Or
that's a
too
lot.
big of areas?
Yeah, because you still have to mow it, so taking all that down and putting it back up constantly, it's a lot. Mac has a lot of stuff. He did almost every fairway.
Are we gonna have enough water it to keep it moist the next 3 weeks? I mean, we're getting into the dry part of the summer, so I don't know how much more rain we're gonna get.
Yeah, I mean, we'll use as much as we can out of the ponds, and then if we need to go to city water, good news is I don't know the number today, but we're about $60,000 in the good compared to last year at this point with city water. We barely had to use it because we've gotten rain enough, but with that new pond, we haven't had to use it. So even if we had to dip into city water, you know, I mean, obviously you look year over year, our expenses, we've got the money there to do that. So hopefully we don't, but we probably will a little bit.
Rain.
Yeah. If we get that rain tomorrow, right after he did that today, it'd be perfect. So that would be, yeah, that never works out, but maybe it will this time. And then Tex. Has anybody been out there? Anybody played the park?
Yeah, it was Saturday and I saw quite a bit of it coming in.
Yeah,
And obviously, it's not going at a breakneck speed, but nothing does, so.
Yeah, so I'll be honest, the day he first did this, I went out the next morning and had an absolute heart attack. Like I almost drove myself to the hospital. I mean, I looked at it, it looked like we were gonna plant corn out there. I mean, it just ripped it all to pieces into just a big mud pile. It just disgusting, but, of course, he had to keep it completely soaked for 10 days. It was hard to see anything. It was so wet. You couldn't even walk out there. It was so wet. So, I went on last Monday and he started to cut the water back a little bit, it's drying a little bit so you could walk. And it was just kind of a sprig here, sprig there, sprig, whatever. And then I went yesterday morning and drove the whole course and there's a lot more sprigs and some of them are already starting to kind of spread. Now we're talking areas 10 times the size of this room and you got little patches of grass. So it doesn't look good, but if you look at where we started to now, it's starting to happen. So, the plan is to right now probably keep the par 3 set up for another week, maybe to the end of June. And then open it up cart path only. And we'll just have to play that by ear and see where we're at. Obviously it's not what we want to do, but a couple more weeks to have grass for the rest of the year and into next year is, you have to do it.
It should get to the point within 10 days to 2 weeks where you don't have to run so much irrigation
Right.
that when somebody gets off the path, he destroys something. I mean, that's the problem with it right at the moment. But
Yeah.
he was drying it up when I looked at it Saturday. He had dried it up
Yeah.
because he needed to mow
Yep.
his existing turf and it was getting away from him and he had to get it down. So that's just a problem that's created when you have this problem. So.
Yeah.
Does the warm weather help with that growth too?
Oh, yeah, it's perfect.
That's
Great
kind
weather.
of get it.
Heat,
Yeah.
humidity and water. That's it. Yeah. And he's hitting it with fertilizer like crazy too. So, yeah. I
That's
mean,
one of the deals, maybe if we pop it with 3/4 of a pound of in every couple of weeks, it'll do pretty good.
I'm just, of course, you know, Seth, he sees it every day. Or these guys look at it every day. It's hard to tell the difference when you see it every day. I'm trying to put a few days between it so I can calm myself down. And you can definitely see, and I'll take pictures. I've got areas I try to take the same picture of the same area and compare it. And there's a lot of, it's a big difference. So I don't know. I mean, it's going to take several weeks, but I feel like there's hope. So,
Are you playing golf out there right now?
yeah. And honestly, the feedback in the club, now social media, I hate it. I don't care what happens on there. The feedback in the clubhouse has actually been pretty positive. People are, they're like, it's kind of fun to play it different. And they're saying, tell the maintenance staff thanks for at least trying to get us a golf course back, whatever. So all in all, feedback's been pretty good. I thought it was gonna be a lot worse. We do have some people, we put it on the booking engine. It says this is a temporary par 3 and they just click out of that, click, and then they get there and we tell them, and everybody's been pretty cool so far. So
There was probably 20 players playing when I was out looking around Saturday, and one group was in the sixth. And when I looked at that, I said, oh, what the heck, let
Yeah.
it go.
we're not getting after people too hard out there right at the moment. Other than carts, making sure they're on the pad. Yeah, there was one day we had 121 players, I think, so. Yeah, and then Auburn, no, we're not doing any major sprigging or anything. I think the fairways are starting to, everything's starting to kind of come together. I think a little bit at Auburn. It's not complete. Obviously, it's not where we want it. I think the greens have shown some improvement. Some of the weeds and stuff have kind of been knocked back. Fairways are not. That's, to me, that's probably, fairways and bunkers are probably are still our two big concerns, and you play there way more than I do. I look at it from a cart. So
Yeah, it just, and to me, and I'm by no means an expert about grass, but it really looks like that zoysia's just kind of choking itself out. They haven't pulled course for so many years that it's just so tight. But I mean, like I said, I'm no expert, but I think at some point he's gonna have to think about pull course. I know Ron used to pull course probably every 3 years, maybe.
I thought more frequent than that, but I wouldn't know for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going just kind of by memory, so I don't know for sure.
Basically, the
Maybe
reason
it was.
on that, you're not really pulling to dethatch, you're pulling to aerate. In other words,
Yeah, yeah,
he's creating a pocket for the air
Right,
to transfer and the water transfer. And
you have to give it room to grow.
yeah, well, I mean, Georgia, once it gets tight, it's only going to get too tight, and it will choke itself out if left. I mean, that's where they used to get Georgia dieback from, is because it would get too tight, but it would get too high. But here you're cutting it a half, I assume, or 5/8. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Somewhere in there. But overall, with the exception of the spots that lost, I still think it was mostly all Georgia or Bermuda grass that was in those areas. Got a little sod, we can, like I said, maybe we can supplement some help off with some temporary type of condition or something, just to maybe get some sodding done to get it over with.
I can probably get some helping hands if that's the way to go. Guys that would probably want to help.
What's the predominant fairway? 18?
18 definitely.
18 is.
18, 11.
And I can see.
Probably.
I gotta think where to look.
Okay,
That's a little short for a par.
Big mountain on the left, yeah.
I don't recall it being real bad there, but.
You drive the green, you just bypass
Yeah, I'm talking about back in the fairway.
it. What you guys laid sod in on 18, like right before I got here, I think.
Yes. Ron had cut out a couple of areas, and we took the sod from number 2, on the right side of number 2. He cut that zoysia out, and then they had 11 pallets of fescue delivered out there. And we went out and helped them lay all that down on the right side of 2, and we moved the other stuff over to 18. And that was a couple of smaller pockets. They really weren't that big, probably 8 foot by 10 foot, or maybe a little bit larger than that.
Okay.
Did it take? I mean, is it still in good shape?
It took that year, but I think this year that spot's dead again.
Lost it again.
I wonder if there's something in the soil, and I'm not a grass expert. I don't.
Mike and I talked about this, about getting a soil sample, sending it off to see what's missing. Like what do we need in that soil to keep this from?
Yeah, because that fairway has been a problem
Yes.
since the get-go.
That's what I hear, yeah.
That's probably a good idea, get a soil sample.
Yeah.
See.
Somewhere or another, they've stopped that program. They used to do a lot of soil samples. We've always tested the greens, fairway. You test 6 fairways per course per year type of thing. So you get an idea that Why they stopped that, I don't know. Obviously, it was probably funding problems in those days.
Yeah, I wondered if that's relatively expensive to have that done or.
Well, it's, for the good you get, it's not, so,
Yeah, it has to be better than having to buy
Cost of it.
pallets of sod every year.
yeah. So, but that's something we'll get going.
Yeah.
I think that that'll help everybody.
You gotta take the samples to some special place for golf.
Oh, you can do it through K-State, you can do Soil Tech. We used to use a company now called Pasol Consulting out of Ohio.
Used to be the extension located up on with the 21st and Ridge.
Ridge.
Yeah. They could
Yeah,
Samples
they're
there
interesting,
before.
yeah. I mean, they send them up to K-State and they
Yeah.
analyze them there. But,
I just texted Dalton and he responded, he said he plans on slitting the fairway. He don't know about actually pulling cores.
well, I mean, it's the same thing.
Open it
If,
up.
if he's using a shatter core, he's got a piece, he's got a one with a prong on it like that that goes in and kind of twists when it goes in and it creates a shatter core.
Kind of like. Or not,
No, it's a little different. Territory.
very, yeah,
Now, the verticut's strictly done on top of it. This shatter core goes down in the ground about this far.
oh,
And
Yeah.
it pops it. What it is it runs on a spool, obviously, with a kind of a triangle spine to it, then it goes in, but when it comes out, it twists a little bit. It doesn't go in square and come out square. It kind of breaks it. So,
so that would loosen it up and
Loosen
give
it
it
up.
room to, yeah, that's probably a good idea.
we've actually bought a.
Do we have that tool?
I've never seen anybody use it, so.
Yeah, so that's where we're at with, I don't know, fairways. I think we're on the path to getting better. Just time, heat, water.
So you're thinking another week or so before you open techs up to
I don't want to stick to that, but
maybe that.
yeah, potentially, yeah. Yeah, as soon
That's
as,
a decision Seth will have to make. We'd like to offer our advice, but he's got to do it.
yeah.
I don't want to step on him.
Yeah, I mean, when we were walking around or looking at it yesterday, he said he thinks definitely by July 1st. And today's the 18th, so 10, whatever, a couple weeks.
Yeah, I would take his time and make sure he's ready to go.
Don't rush.
Yeah, and that seems to be the same philosophy on most of the golfers. Go do what you gotta do, like get us some grass out here.
One comment I would make, I mean, we can discuss it and rediscuss it, and do everything under the sun, but the person who's dying the most with it, I guarantee you, is the poor guys out there trying to figure out what to do. They are really trying their best. I mean, in
Yeah, I can tell you,
bad circumstances.
of course, I mean, they all care, but Seth, with how bad his is, he's getting pretty stressed out right now. I mean, dude cares. The guy cares about what he's doing. So, I mean, anything you can, feedback you can pass along or any, kind of help him out because he's disgusted right now. That's not his fault. I mean, it's a bad situation. It's good to have somebody that has that attitude instead of, oh, well, deal with it, and that we could easily have that. We don't. He's done everything in the world trying to fix it. So.
All right, irrigation update. I know Marcia made the presentation, but we will not know any of the reaction of the council until
Yeah, I put this on here. Marcia actually, unfortunately, she couldn't be here today, but she had asked me to kind of add this, and she did make a presentation to council last Tuesday. She did an incredible job. As you said, she had, I don't know how many people, there were at least 30 people in that room. I know on the camera, when you watch it, you can't see it, but Maggie Ballard asked everyone, if you play golf and on our courses, can you raise your hand? And I'm out in the crowd, turn around, it looked like every seat in the place raised their hand. So that was a cool visual for council to be up there looking back at that crowd and see that. We got some very good comments from JV, from Maggie, that seemed to be in support, but kind of looking, we still have time to keep pressing this issue and keep trying to get it in front of council and push it to a higher level of importance. So I just kind of wanted to put this on here and let you guys maybe take over some ideas or things you think would help.
Yeah, I've been talking to JB just a little bit. And I think that if we as golfers can make our word known to the city council just by a simple email, it won't take long. I'm going to try to tell some of the people in my men's club and couples leagues and other people that I know just see and play golf that, you know, here are the people we need to get a hold of. And our council members' emails are out there for anybody to get, or we can even give them to them to send out some emails. But I think from what I hear, we need a little more support to get to the council if we want to get some funding for our irrigation systems. Marcia was very good about spelling out the fact that this was not a recent issue that we're having, that these irrigation systems, I think she said Sim was 38 years old and Auburn, the newest one, was like 20 some years old. And she said the life expectancy was 20 to 25 years or something like that. But she spelled it out very clearly that this is something that's needed attention for a long time. It's something that just has been neglected. So
Was there any feedback from the council? Did they question or?
JV and Maggie both had good comments to say. And I think they seem very interested. Some of the other councilmen, I didn't get the impression, but they didn't say anything. Maybe they're still interested, but just weren't voicing their opinions. I don't know, but like you probably have a lot of gentlemen that, or authors that you know, that you could probably say, hey, let's just make our voice heard here a little bit. Yeah. And, you know, we can talk about that later or whatever, but
Okay.
I think it's something, if we can help, I think, you know, we should probably do that.
Yeah, and even, I mean, she mentioned if someone wanted to do another public comment like she did, maybe not the next, but the following council meeting, now that she has been through the process to get on the agenda, she'd be glad to help someone, but maybe a representative from, that's not on the board, even if you know someone, that would be good. And I do, especially being in that room with all the support and the people that walked in there, I think if you show the numbers, if we can get a group together, yeah, I think that went a long way. It was pretty cool. And as soon as she finished, 80% of the people in that room got up and walked out. Like it was obvious they were there just for that. And then like the whole room just got up and left. So it was really good.
Yeah, I think you're right, Andy. We should follow up, keep hitting it from multiple angles.
Yeah, I mean, golf is, I don't know what, we did almost 200,000 rounds last year or something like that. It was, I mean, that's a lot of golf. That's a lot of people.
51,000 plus unique visitors. So that's a lot of people.
So, I mean, I don't know how many people play pickleball or tennis or whatever. Yeah, there's a lot of support for the golf community out there. I think we just need to let the council know that, hey, help.
What is in the final budget in August?
Yeah, it's getting quick. Like the more we can do, the quicker, the better, obviously.
All right, moving on. Vacant board seat. You did mention that a little bit earlier.
Okay, yeah, I know we voted here, I don't know, it's been 3 meetings ago probably. A lot, and I apologize, it's either Steven or Stefan, I'm not sure, but he owns the board. He's on 15 different restaurant or bar establishments. Does some consulting with other places. He's got a heck of a background in food and beverage. So I've submitted everything for council has to approve the person to fill the seat. So I've submitted everything for him to be a part of this board. I met with him last week. Was extremely impressed. I think he'd be a great addition. So Hopefully by the next meeting, he'll be a part of the meeting. So I know that's kind of been a topic of when are we gonna fill this seat, and then everything happened, but yeah, everything should be good to go. I was hoping he would be able to make it. He was gonna try tonight, but, yeah, if that all gets pushed through and approved, then he should be here next meeting. So, pretty excited about bringing him on board. He does play golf. We kind of talked about some ideas, and I felt like he really has a good understanding on golf course and what it would take to be successful in the food and beverage part. It's a different animal than a restaurant, so I'm always a little leery. But he seemed like he had a pretty good grasp on what things, some stuff we could do.
Always been very difficult to have a quote unquote successful restaurant in the golf course mecca. Snack bars are the imminent thing that is successful.
Yeah.
So, all right, staffing update. I know we've but what about the staffing on?
Yeah, well, I think we talked about that before we were in meetings, so I'll talk about that first. I'll go course by course real quick, give you an update. In Auburn Hills, we obviously have a vacancy in the head pro position. Tim's been filling in. We went, you were on the board, so thank you for your help with helping with the selection, but we went with Michael Miller. He's lives in Fort Worth, Texas. He's at a big Marriott property now. As most of you know, I know Michael. I've worked with him before, so I have 100% faith and put my name that he's going to do a good job. I have no doubt he's going to come in right off the gate and hit the ground running. So we're looking at a start date for him of July 8th. That he'll be orientation that day, and then he'll be at Auburn July 9th. Well, that'll be his first day. I'm going to put out a kind of a press release. He's going to send me some of his background and some quotes and stuff, and I'm going to put together a package and get it out to everyone. And then I'll probably, once he's been there for a week or two, I'll set up a kind of a meet and greet, a little open house at Auburn Hills for everyone to come out and meet and talk to him. But yeah, really excited to get him on board. With him coming on, now we can kind of shift the assistant pros where they were. We kind of had to borrow from Mark, went from Mac to Tex, Greg went from Tex to Auburn and so forth. So we can kind of get back to the original plan for the year after he's on board. So
What's the inventory status?
We don't have the number. We've probably sold $40,000 of maybe more than that by now of what the merchandise that's in there. We got everything squared away with Scott. We're just waiting on some behind the scenes stuff to be squared away so we can get him the payment. But everything's done. We did an audit 2 weeks ago. And we're just going through the process to get the check cut.
Would Michael have any interest in maybe buying remaining inventory or
Possibly,
having a discussion?
I talked about it briefly. I think he would like to pick and choose. I mean, there's some stuff in there that I promise I wouldn't want to be stuck with. There's some very expensive stuff that I wouldn't want to be stuck with. So we're trying to push as much as we can out before he gets here, just to let him have a clean slate to start with. Now, of course, him starting in July, and you got to set up accounts and all that. He probably will be pretty light through the fall, gearing up for spring. So, and that's kind of what I told him. I don't expect him to come in and try to fully stock a shop for 2 more months of golf. That'd be dumb. So, so that kind of gives us the rest of the year to get through what's there, what he doesn't want to purchase, and we can try to move that stuff out pretty quick. But it is going. When we got credit cards again, we started moving a lot more stuff out of there.
He is a class A where he can set up accounts without a lot of
He can
problems.
set up account, yeah, no problem.
Okay.
And he's
Sometimes the PGA gets sticky about, or vendors get sticky about guys that aren't in association.
oh no, he won't have any problem with that. And he's already kind of talked to me about his plan. He's not gonna have any, he's gonna come in and get the accounts established and go. So yeah, so excited. I'll get that announcement out to the public here in the next couple of days, probably by the end of the week. The rest of the clubhouse in there, they're okay. They've got some some younger folks that are gonna be leaving here in about a month, mainly in the pro shop. So, just every year, that's the case. You get to the end of the summer and half your staff leaves, but you're still busy as heck. So, we'll deal with that. On the maintenance side, he had built up pretty good. He did have two quit this past week. So we had two seasonal. One worked about 20 hours. The other one was a full-time 40-hour-a-week person. They left, but he did interview someone today, I think. I haven't talked to him. He interviewed him this afternoon, so hopefully you can bring them on. But he's a lot better now by far than he was a month ago, 2 months ago, especially.
So we
So
referencing Sim or what?
what's that? No, Auburn Hills.
Oh, okay.
Yep. I'm just gonna go down the line. So in Sim, Clubhouse is doing pretty good. The big problem and probably the biggest hole we have in the entire division is the maintenance at Sim. He still has 3 people right now. We've opened up a Syndio account to try to get some, what do you call it, temporary help or whatever it's called. They're having problems at finding anybody. So we have a PM in place ready. I mean, they can start the next day if we find some. We've used them in the past. Last year, we had a couple, but hopefully they'll come through and get us some people. He had a interview set up for his greenskeeper finally last week. We got the panel together and the person didn't show up for the interview. So we just opened that back up today. See if we can get any hits on that. But yeah, sim maintenance is definitely the biggest issue we have with staff. And it doesn't help that half of his time is in a hole fixing the irrigation leak every day. I've had 4 pictures sent to me in the last 10 days where a golfer will take a picture and be like, here's more proof that council needs to fix the irrigation. And they send me a picture of Darren down in a hole trying to fix a leak. And one day, Wednesday of last week, huge leak overnight, got there and the number 14, I believe, was underwater. The entire golf hole was underwater. Because it happened at 11 o'clock at night and just gushed water all night long. So it's a nightmare. See at Tex, we just hired a new, kind of the way it works inside, we got the head pro, the assistant, and then there's one, it's called a customer clerk, which is kind of like a manager on duty, a little bit higher level seasonal position. We just hired someone for that position that started probably today. I think he seems like a great guy. So I think he'll be really good in there. So the clubhouse, they're a little bit weak on the F&B, especially doing the bev carts, which I'm gonna go over in a minute, but all in all, they're not too bad. The maintenance, we have the assistant superintendent position is open right now. I looked today, we had, I think it was 4, I can't see them, but we had 4 applications submitted so far, and that closes in 3 days, I think. So hopefully, once it closes, HR goes through a pre-screen and then they send us the applications as people that make it through. So hopefully next week we'll be able to look through those and see if we have one to have anybody that's really qualified. Mac, they're actually doing really well in the clubhouse. He's stacked with people and maintenance is done really well. They hired a new greenskeeper 6 weeks ago, probably something like that. And he's doing really well. Of course, they got Ron and Kat, the superintendent, assistant superintendent, and got a pretty good staff. So Mac is somehow they're getting people in the clubhouse. They're getting people. They can hire 10 people a day. I don't understand it. It's weird to me how one place can get so many applications and 2 miles down the road can't get anybody. I don't understand it, but
They let you transfer. I mean, if somebody comes in looking for a job at McDonald's, they say, hey, Parks, can we put you at Sim?
yeah, let's say they apply for SIM, we call them, they come in, we don't need them at SIM, we have to tell them to go back online and apply at the other place. We can't just transfer them, and most of the time they say, I'm not doing all that. Yeah, it's
Even though it's the same skill code.
Yep. So what I try to do with the guys, tell them, or with the staff, is tell them if you have somebody, know what each other's problem areas are. If you have somebody that fits, keep that communication. Don't just turn them away and then tell the other person, hey, there's a guy here last week that applied. Maybe you could, then it's impossible to find the contact info. So we've worked really hard to try to make sure everyone knows what everyone needs. So if someone comes in, maybe I don't need this person here, but I know there's a spot at Sim that's perfect. let me put you in contact with him. So we're trying to work together, but yeah, they would have to reapply completely. Yeah. Yeah, and doing just a straight transfer is if I had someone that was already employed and I need them to work at a different course to do a transfer is not easy either. It takes forever. So,
Are we still kind of in limbo and upgrading those monetary side of that, or is that okay now?
and it's not okay. We're doing pennies. We're doing it. The only way I can do it is one by one. And each person I have to have, I mean, it's pages and pages. So I've done a lot. We're much better now than we were, but I bring somebody on, I have to make sure I'm not bringing them in higher than someone that's worked there for a long time. Obviously, that's not fair. So then you're trying to figure all that out. Penny, with Park is working on a report right now that's going to give me everyone's history, everyone's pay history, how long they've been here, like every bit of info about every person, or I can look and finish up the rest of this pay increase. And then, yeah, and then of course, with the cyber attack, that nothing happened. So, yeah, I don't know that it could be any more difficult. We're plugging away.
Okay. Well, now if you give us that great news for
Yeah.
some areas. The position for Mr. Bishop's farm.
Sorry. That position is open right now. It will close next week. The mechanic position should post by the end of this week, hopefully. So we finally got that through the 15 approvals before we could get it in the process to get approved. So once it was approved to move forward, then you have to get it approved to post. So that should be up this week.
That particular position will be a roving mechanic for
Yep.
all horses.
Yep, and we have equipment lists at each course now. I mean, I'm trying to get the tools that they need at each course, but not having to have a big truck full of tools. Now they can just go to the shop and have what they need. And for the most part, we'll have to spend a little bit of money at each shop to get them squared away, but for the most part, they're in good shape. So, and then with that position, I'm going to have them create a kind of an asset management program so we can track each piece of equipment, make sure regular maintenance is done, track all the expenses along with that piece of equipment. So when we come back and try to decide, do we need to replace this mower, I can pull this up and say, we've spent $7,000 this year and a new one's $13,000. You know what I mean? We'll have a lot more informed or a lot more information to make a better decision. Any other questions on staffing or?
That mechanic's position, you say it'll probably be posted next week sometime. That'll have to be open for several weeks.
I could do as low as I could probably do a week, probably 2 weeks would be the lowest they would let me go. Which I may go that route. I would like to get it full, and I know there's several people that are waiting on it. I've heard that there's 3 or 4 qualified candidates that are probably going to apply. So I'll just make sure they know that it's open. If you want to apply, please do so.
That was in the city organization or outside?
Outside, it would both. Oh, outside, the people I'm talking about.
So the earliest you're probably looking at is sometime in August.
Well,
Do we currently have a mechanic or equipment's just sitting there waiting for a mechanic to come in and fix it?
If it's not the most basic of repairs, we have to send it off, which means we're paying a company to come get it. It's gonna sit at their shop for however long. It's gonna sit at their shop for however long it takes them, then we gotta pay them to bring it back. So we're a ton of expense and a ton of downtime. And then the equipment, we do have equipment that we lease from the city, and that takes longer when something goes wrong with that equipment. So they're way behind and short staffed, just like we are.
all right, any other questions?
Any questions, Jeffy?
Sorry, I was in this parking lot on a conference call. My director called me right when I was walking in, and so I was on a Teams meeting this whole time, so.
You just tell them to just hang on.
Yeah, I tell her, I was like, sorry, guys, I'll be in when I can.
All right, we do have bev cards and iPads. I assume this is some way to pay for.
Yeah, I'm gonna show you real quick and I'll try to come up here. I'm gonna try to show something like this. It doesn't work right. Let's try. So we were working on this. We had all this done right before the cyber attack happened. So each course is gonna have an iPad like this. It'll have the credit card reader on the back. And I know this is more operational, not a big deal for you guys, but so they'll just go to BevCart. We have a preset list up here. That's gonna show, this is what we want you to start with. We can modify this each course, but every day they'll come, it'll show what they want, what they should start with in each cart. It's a pre-made list. To load the cart, we're gonna put 24 Bud Light, 6, whatever. I'm just gonna pick something down through here. So these things are on the cart. They would have someone go down with them, verify that's in the cart. Okay, and I've only done this a couple times since we haven't put up, so. And then from there, I'm really working on getting more controls on the food and beverage side so we can track away anything that goes missing, just really get a tighten up on the food cost. But then everything on the food cart, you got a beer tab, you got regular drinks, and then you got snacks. It's super easy. So for they want 1 Miller Lite. It's part off. But, so they want Miller Lite and a Bud Light Lime. Finalize sale, swap the credit card, they're on the way. It's going to be super, super fast. And then when they come back to restock, you just hit restock here. I can go through it all, but basically, I mean, really all they do is just add whatever they put in the cart.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, it says how much money you should have, how much stuff you should have on the cart still. Just have somebody pop in real quick, verify.
So will they be using that even if someone's paying cash as opposed to a card or whatever? So this keeps everything.
Every sale will be through here, and then at the end of it, basically all the person closing would do is go on the menu on the computer, click on Bev card, close the cash card. Close out. And should be on here. You have that to your pocket. So super easy. It's honestly probably the best function I've seen with the whole program that we use. So the entire system is getting ready to switch to what's called CPS Air, which is a cloud-based system. That's probably going to happen next week. And then even in the pro shops, we're going to have a layout more like this instead of that disaster that we work with right now. So, but yeah, I was actually very impressed with this setup. It's pretty much, it's foolproof. I mean, unless you're stealing something, it's, obviously anybody can lie and do that. But if you have someone spot and they're honest, they're doing it, you're going to catch it right away. You're going to know there's a problem. So, of course, that's always it's a tricky thing. It's hard to track. It's hard to, especially I've always had liquor on the bev cart, and that gets a lot harder. Everything ours is just canned, so it's just literally just quantities. So it won't be that bad. But just before we really start going with these every single day, I wanted to have controls in place so we could really monitor, and we know that there's not just beer flying out the cart with no payment. So we're keeping up with it. So I'm also working in CPS just in general, all the food and beverage inventory. We're cleaning up all the inventories, cleaning up the SKUs. So hopefully by the end of this week, everything will be, I'll know exactly how many Bud Lights are at each course, how many whatever, all the food and beverage. As the golf pros or the food and beverage people get the invoices, they just input the new quantities, and then we'll do inventory every other week when we get the new person at Kevin's spot.
So is there some scheduled training then that these people want to go through?
Yeah. Yep. And then we're doing some starting next week, we're gonna do just some cash closeout training just to make sure it wasn't bad. Last month we had some days where there were the deposit was off a little bit, but when we did $700,000 in all cash and it was complete chaos, I think overall we ended up over like $80. That's awesome to me. I thought that was huge, but each day it was $1 here, $2 here, and kind of, so of course accounting is saying like we can't be off every day like this. So we're gonna do some training, get that squared away. Any comments, accountant?
I'll give that question. Golfers are notoriously generous. What's gonna happen if somebody's trying to put a gratuity on that credit card?
There is no way to do it.
Okay.
There's no gratuity button. There's no option. I mean, I can't say somebody's not gonna throw somebody a $5 bill and, you know, they're not supposed to take it, but you know, we'll control what we can control. But yeah, with this, there's no way to add
That'll
it.
be understood prior to, I mean, during all the training sessions.
That's right. Yep. Yep.
Don't want to go down that trail again.
No, we don't. No, there's no way to even add a gratuity.
All right, any other questions?
How's the cart's been doing so far?
Cards?
Yeah, the F carts.
Good. I mean, it's cash only right now until we get these out this week, or maybe first part of next week, but they, yeah, when they're out, I mean, staffing has been a problem. We have people to drive them, but in cash only, that kills us. I mean, so many people, oh, you don't take card. I've only got a card. You know, there's nothing we can do. So they wait until they get to the clubhouse, but, I think they're going to do very well. I mean, with that many, 220 golfers every single day on a golf course, you're going to sell some stuff. So a lot. So
To get like it's been.
yeah. Well, we're slowly getting the staff levels up to do that and kind of have a plan in place. Auburn's in pretty good shape. They're ready to go. Tex, we can cover probably 4 of the 7 days right now. So we'll kind of pick and choose. It's hard when you're so packed every day. There's not an off day. I mean, you need to be out there every day. So that's the goal. Mac should be good, and then Tim could use probably one more person. I mean, all the stuff was all lined up, ready to go before the whole world fell apart. So I'm frustrated that we're just now getting back to where we planned on being in really in April. But when everything shut down and everything happened at Auburn and whatever, anyway, here we are. We'll get there.
All right, any other questions regarding that finance rounds update?
Okay, everything here will go through May, so it doesn't have any of the June numbers on it. Starting on year-to-date rounds comparison. I think we shut Tex down on the 24th, if I'm thinking correctly, of May. So we had about a week of no golf at all, not even a par 3 course at May or at Tex. So all in all, if that would have stayed open, even with having several more rain days this year than we had last year, we're pretty much dead even as with last year. Mac had a little bump increase. Sim was pretty much dead on. Tex went down, obviously being closed, and then Auburn is within 300 rounds, so 1 day. So all in all things considered, pretty happy with where we're at with that, with the number of rounds. Looking at May alone, we did have last year. I don't think we may have had 1 rain day in May. This year, I think we had 3 or 4, and a lot more cart path only days. But all together, or all things considered, especially again with Tex being closed, pretty close to last year. Everybody else was sure I'm not lying here. Everybody else was pretty close to last year, just a couple hundred rounds off. Again, with the rain, pretty good. May and June last year were record months. In June, we did $806,000. That's what we're up against this month. That was the biggest month golf had ever had. Text being closed is hurting us, but we're not. We can still get it. I'm watching it every day. We need a big finish, but we can get there. Look at cart rentals. We've been in cart path only a lot more this year than last year. And when we're cart path only, we get a lot more walkers. So I think that had a big part. And then January, we were way down. So looking at year over year, we've pretty well caught up. Made up for January, and then I think just the walkers and then with text being closed, we're a little bit down there, but all in all, pretty close to where we were. If you look at Max, almost dead on. Texas, the main one that's down, it's 11,000 down. Auburn's down a little bit, and Sam is pretty much dead on. So nothing too concerning there. Food and beverage. Again, I think this number would have been a lot higher if we would have been taking credit cards the whole time. That's probably where I saw the biggest hit. And even with that being considered, we're 15,000 up from last year through this point. Auburn is pretty much square. The big improvements have been Mac and Sim. And the reason for that is we're trying, especially at Sim, we've tried a lot of the new foods. We're getting that rolling out. Mac kind of doing the same thing, pushing Bev Card out a little bit more. So I think we're going in the right direction. We get all this in place. We're going to be, this should see a pretty good increase, I believe. Driving range comparison, we're up $13,000. Of course, we raised the price a little bit this year, but Mac would be way more up. The first tee has so many classes. Like right now, the range is only open pretty much in the middle of the day. It's closed in the morning, it's closed in the afternoon. There's not much we can do about that. The way their contract is, they paid for the range, they built the range, they have access to use the range. So, which is good. I mean, it's good to have the kids up there, but we do get a lot of angry folks that when they drive out and the range is closed all the time. So we try to post the schedule as much as possible. So without that, if that range is open more, we'd be a lot farther along with the revenue. Some of the stuff I still can't get to, so there's a couple of things on here that I don't have because we're still catching up from the cyber attack. Looking at May, we did $728,000, and that was without a credit card sale. We didn't have credit cards, I think, until the 28th. I thought that was going to be a lot worse when that first happened, so pretty happy with that. All in all, we're up still almost $200,000 from last year. Let me look here. Sim is up 30,000. Memberships are up 100,000 already. Mac is up 50,000, 20,000 at Tex, and almost dead on at Auburn. So, that's right.
That City Hall, I mean, is that the memberships?
That's memberships and tournament, class, camp, clinics, any kind of registration online. And it could include get a card, not get first, not part of it. So, yeah, any payment that's done online, whether that's membership or for registration. The project fund, I thought you guys ought to start giving you the balance here. A couple of these have asterisks because cart fund and the equipment fund, there's a couple of dollars from every green fee or every cart rental that go into these funds, and they're 2 months behind because we couldn't access them. And they have made the transfer actually a little bit more than 2 months behind. So cart fund should be minimum 650,000. I think that's really going to be more around 750, 800,000. And I until they make that adjustment, I don't know what that number is.
Have they finished paying off for the carts that we sold in?
They just received the last check. It hasn't been put in the system, but they just made the last payment of $85,000. Yep. And then, $2 from every cart rental goes, so that number, it goes up pretty quick. The equipment fund, same thing. There's $3 from every green fee goes into that hasn't been transferred. So that's going to be quite a bit more than what we see right here. I think that's going to be closer to probably 200,000. I thought 2 months, probably probably another 90,000 needs to be transferred, and that's just me doing math on the top of my head. That should be pretty close. The clubhouse fund, we still have $76,000 left in that, and I mean, we have some minor little things, but the bulk of the work obviously is done, so, came in pretty much under budget with most of that work that we did. We still have some money to make improvements as we see we need to. The grounds fund, the only thing that came out of that was the cart path repair, and we still have 80,000 left in that to do any kind of project. So if we needed to do a siding project, this money would qualify for that. Anything that we need to do outside of the clubhouse, we can use this fund. And then the general project fund, you know, at the end of the year, anything over $1 million goes into this, and then we move it from that general project into the one that we want, and we still have nearly 200,000 just in that fund. And then the general fund, that's one I can't see, but I'm guessing it's probably 1.3, 1.4 million right now. Now, something pretty concerning happened last week. The city council had their budget workshop, and I think it was last Tuesday and the week before. It looks like in 2026, the city expects to have a budget shortfall. They're going to be in the negative, so they're trying to come up with plans to prepare for that and be ready for it. And they have kind of an option one, option two. Option two included something for golf, where we all know the Auburn Hills debt is still on the books. They're $5.7 million. In that option two, one of the items was that golf would pay back $377,000 a year for the next 15 years to pay off that debt. Maggie and JV both spoke up, and JV brought up that the home value, the increase in home value because of the golf course, the property taxes from that has more than paid that off 10 times over. Maggie just brought up that, you know, golf is going in the right direction. We're making so many improvements, and that would just shut us down if that, you know, if they did that to us. And basically, city manager just said we can discuss this at a later time. He just said, I know this is something that comes up and goes away, but we need to make a decision. And he said several prior councils have dealt with this, and it just kind of keeps getting kicked down the road. So I have no idea if that kind of came out of nowhere. I found out from people texting me that night they were watching the meeting. My phone started going crazy. I look it up and watch the meeting, but I don't know where they're gonna go with it. So just something to put on your radar. I don't know what we can do if they decide they want to go with option two. I don't know. $400,000 a year is it's a pretty big chunk.
Where did they come up with that number, just out of
I
curiosity?
just did it on a 15-year payment plan. There's no interest on this. It's 5.7, and they just divided it by 15. Yeah. You can watch that. You can just go to YouTube and go to budget. City of Wichita budget workshop, and it was about 2 weeks ago. You can see it. It's when she's going through the different options. It was option two.
So they did that, they projected those houses to be around $200,000. You can't touch a house out there for $200,000. Double that, you can't touch half of those homes.
Right.
How taxes they're paying. I mean, between $5,000 and $10,000 a year for taxes on a house. Ridiculous. I'll get you started.
Well,
Yeah, that's a rabbit hole you can.
be a rabbit hole they need to get into though, because that's a huge. I don't know what.
Yeah, I don't know what can be done. I mean,
That's, I don't know what our options are.
that's a city council decision.
But I mean, if we don't get irrigation and then that happens, it just can't, we can't do that.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Even if you get irrigation and then you have to pay
Right.
anything over 1.5, you know, that's gonna be probably $700,000 per course.
Any questions on anything financial? Again, the expenses, I'll have on next meeting. I'll have an updated deal. There's still invoices. I'm getting approvals 30 a day. They're trying to get them all caught up, so I'll have that by the next meeting. If I get it before that, I'll send it out to you guys.
One thing I got worried about is the tree situation. They get a wind like this and boy, I get a little nervous.
We've had a couple that broken during a wind like this, and we call, and if it's an emergency, obviously they'll do everything they can to get out. And I need the new, Jonathan Bacon is the new forestry, head of forestry. I've talked to him several times. He's kind of getting he's been here a few months now. I mean, most of the stuff, if it's not an emergency, we're probably gonna have to contract out. They're like us, they're way completely understaffed and way behind.
I fully agree that that's the case. They've been cutting their budget for years also, so they don't have enough manpower to go around, but we're getting in a pretty critical situation where we don't want a reoccurrence of some problems that we've had previously. Seems like every day we get another one.
We had some strong winds the last couple of days.
Yes. Today was no joke.
I'm just throwing that out because I think it's got to get booted up and we're going to have to look at it. I know probably that would be an off-season job.
I think what I'll do, I'll start working with the maintenance guy tomorrow to get kind of to identify the worst, and I'll get with Mr. Bacon, see if there's any way they can get to it and win, and if not, we'll start trying to price it out.
Is Mac the most tree filled course we have?
I think the most dead ones are at Sim. I don't know.
I mean, there's the most trees are at Mac, most dead ones are probably at Sim.
There is some stuff at Sim's I saw with the limbs actually up in the tree. Yeah, hanger.
Stay out from under the trees on days like this. Crashing down on my
You
head.
know, he's in the middle of fairway.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna worry about trees.
The bad part about it is this is just an emergency kind of a thing where you're doing removal, whereas you've got a multitude of them that need to be trimmed up. Anyway, it's a project you gotta look at. Unfortunately. All right. Project update, we kind of touched on that. Do you have anything else you'd like to put on the agenda?
Fair. That's a vote. Fairways and,
Fairways are ongoing, hopefully slowly turning the corner a little bit, where we're showing some positive anyway.
yeah.
Just out of curiosity, do you know that process that Dalton was saying that they were gonna do? Does that tear the fairways up quite a little bit or not too evasive or?
Yeah, you'll have a week where it'll be a little bit rough, but it'll heal pretty quick. It'll knife, it'll put grooves there, your ball might fall in a groove, so you'd want to probably play it up for about a week, but they feel in pretty quick, especially with the heat.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you agree, Mike?
Yeah, it's invasive, but it doesn't leave any debris on the top particularly, whereas if your core aerating, you get that core, it pops out, now you gotta process that, or you're gonna have to do something with it, or you're running in mud for 2 or 3 weeks, so, anytime you aerate, it's invasive. I mean, it just,
Would that be a time where they would consider doing carts on path too, to keep the traffic off of it? To where the air and the water and stuff can actually get in there?
I wouldn't think he would do that, no. Not unless you pull the core and add a core lean out there and mud it up, so.
And he'd probably do a few holes a day. I don't think he would get the whole, I mean, it would be.
It's a slow process.
Yeah, fairways are it's a lot of area. So. I'll work with him and let you know when he's planning on doing that. He said he was planning on it, so.
Yeah, if there's anything I can do to help, or if you need some extra hands or something.
Hey,
You also got a verdict drain now, whether or not that's very good verdict drain, I don't know. The ones on the shed over at Pawnee,
text, yeah.
Dex, yeah. Now, that's a different thing. They're using a solid tine. If you're not pulling a cord with the sign, it's just like a 1/2 inch tine that goes in, and again, it's got a little spring action. But it's not nearly as disruptive as a shatter cord.
It's almost I mean, the more disruptive, the more it opens it up. So where do you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually have to hurt it a little bit to help it.
Yeah.
Shatter course is a much quicker operation than the verdict drain. Verdict drain is basically, you got slamming tines on it, and you're only moving a couple mile an hour at the most, and it's just creeping down the fairway. And whether that old machine had survived.
The other problem is you got 220 people playing golf while you're trying to do that.
Yeah.
That's tough. That's tough.
That's the one thing about a country club is, well, we closed hole number 1 today. You're gonna start on 2 or aerifying the hole.
Yeah, well, close 9 holes. Go around here twice if you want to, besides close, something, I mean, but he needs the time to work on it. I mean, that's, I would give priority to that for sure.
Time that right, we've had enough closures.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True.
Excuse me.
Um,
Any other comments? Any other business? Anybody make a move, we adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
A second.
All in favor, aye. Aye.
The record.
Look at this.
That's awesome.
Worth your effort, yes.
My director kept talking and talking. I don't know. Sorry, guys.
We'll sign everything to you where you're.
All right. I did play at Sims the other day. The fairways looked better than what they ever.